Here we go. It's time to go temple building from the inside out. Many of us know that physical and mental health play a direct part in spiritual health, but we may not know how to bring it all together. Well, here's your host, Desiree Fletcher Carruthers, as we go temple building from the inside out.
Hey everybody, it is the 1 o'clock hour Central Standard Time. So welcome to KPOG 102.9's Temple Building from the Inside Out. I'm your host, Desiree Fletcher Carruthers, and thanks for joining me. As always, please be sure to visit us at kpog.org, where you can also listen live or download the KPOG app on your smartphone and carry us with you wherever you go, because I tell you what, there is a lot of great programming on this show, a lot of great Christian programming. And if that's your jam, you're going to want to come check us out right here. So today's show, folk, is going to be quick. And what I mean by quick is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. So listen up. I'm not going to be with you long today. But I did want to be sure that I join you because I want to talk about quinine. Which probably seems like an odd thing to be talking about, but I have a listener question that I wanted to make sure that I address, so we're going to get to that. But before we answer that question, I have a question for you, and that is, how are those stress levels out there? While we've had certain protests starting to die down a little bit, or at least quiet down in the media, it doesn't mean they've actually quieted down. There are others that have started to spring up, and so now we're paying attention to those. Now we have parents protesting on going back to school. And as a parent, I have some very, I think, strong opinions about that, but I'm not going to dive into that topic on this show, but we are going to talk about stress. Stress levels are still high for many people for many reasons. And if you caught my series about stress and how to purposely address it, I want to know, did you do your homework? Did you complete it? Did you identify your list of stressors and their true causes? Because we talked about this at pretty good length in that series. Have you started incorporating those stress relieving foods into your diets that we talked about? Or have you started using any of the stress reducing practices that were highlighted, like prayer and building positive relationships and exercise? All of those are great things. And if you have not started incorporating those, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Your stress is going to be there until you help it not be there. So let's get to it. And if you weren't able to tune in to my stress series, go ahead and visit KPOG on Facebook and check it out. All of my Facebook Live videos that I record at the same time that I'm broadcasting live will be there. In fact, on the KPOG Facebook page, Temple Building now has a group. And so you can go to KPOG on Facebook, search for Temple Building from the Inside Out group, join it. And I'm going to be migrating all of my Facebook Live videos there, as well as some other tips and tidbits that I want to be sharing with that group in particular that I may not necessarily cover on my show. Go ahead and join it, and you'll get notifications when I update the group. And if you want to visit it, great. And if you don't, you can ignore those notifications like anything else we do on Facebook, because heaven knows we get tons of them, but this will be a good one. So please do go check it out. Okay, so for my question, a listener friend was wondering if I had heard about quinine and whether or not it is true that quinine can kill the virus, and the virus being the all popular coronavirus that we're all dealing with right now. Well, not personally, but the effects of it in one way or another. And well, Richard, first off, I just want to say thank you for the question. It is a good one. While I am not a medical doctor, I cannot make any claims or give medical advice regarding the use of quinine as a medical agent. But here is what I will tell you. Depending on how you look at it, quinine can be considered a medication for certain mosquito-borne diseases such as malaria or babesiosis, sometimes also referred to as babesia. That's related to a parasite. It's even considered to be a remedy for restless leg syndrome. In more recent years, some doctors have also found some success in using quinine to treat arthritis and lupus. So evidently, quinine is an effective relaxant of muscles and can be mixed with medicine for a cramps treatment of muscle injuries. So that's where you kind of get that relation for joints, muscles, and what have you. Anecdotally, I have a relative that drinks tonic water to help with their restless leg syndrome, which is just when your body has an uncontrollable urge to move. So your legs are just there twitching, jumping. Sometimes it can be painful. Most of the times it's just rather irritating, especially at night if you're trying to sleep and your muscles won't relax and calm down enough for you actually to fall into sleep. So that's restless leg syndrome in a nutshell. And tonic water seems to help provide relief for that treatment. So tonic water, what does tonic water have to do with quinine? And actually, it's a great segue because in addition to being a medical treatment, quinine is also it's also a food ingredient. You'll find it in tonic water. It's the ingredient that gives tonic water that bitter taste. So fun fact, because of the medicinal effects of quinine, it gives its name to the word tonic. So because tonic is considered, I guess in olden days, if you want to look at it that way, you drank tonic as a medicine. So mixing the quinine in the water gives you tonic water, and it was intended to be used in the beginning in South Africa and African regions where there are high cases of malaria, insect-borne disease. However, quinine by itself is very bitter, so the British in the 19th century, officials from those regions started mixing soda water and sugar together with the quinine to make it a more palatable drink. And so currently today, we've taken that drink and we use it a lot more diluted and sweetened, and we tend to mix it in with our gin and vodka as an alcoholic drink. So there you have it, your gin and tonic water, all of that kind of rolled in together there. So there's a brief history. What's important to note is that a medical dose of quinine is much greater than the amount that's present in tonic water itself. So a glass may contain about approximately 20 milligrams of quinine, while a liter may have as many as 83 milligrams, where a medical dose could have somewhere between 500 and 1,000 megagrams. So you can see there's a big difference between what you would be given for medical purposes. So if you had malaria or something along those lines, as to what you're drinking, if you just like to drink tonic water or soda water by itself, because soda waters are popular now. They're flavored. They're popular because you can still get your carbonation fix. They have a very light fruity flavor because a lot of times they're flavored just so we can drink it. It helps to get over the bitterness, and it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. Several soda waters have minimal salt. So, for those who like carbonation, but not all the sugar and not all the salt, that's an opportunity for them to have a bubbly drink without all of those other quote unquote bad ingredients. So what's the downside? If we can drink it, in our beverages, then why not? Why not use it all the time? It's because quinine can have allergic reactions. So if you are allergic, you can suffer from several unsavory side effects such as skin reactions, diarrhea, headaches, a lot of those common minor side effects that seem to be associated with almost every pharmaceutical that's out there, but it can also ratchet up to life-threatening blood and cardiovascular reactions, which we don't want. So quinine in and of itself, for the most part, is a medication that can have some serious side effects. So if you are looking at it as a cure or a treatment for a medical condition, you definitely want to consult your physician. If you're just using it in your beverage, if you've drank it several times without side effects, odds are you are not allergic to it, but just keep in mind that an allergic reaction could happen. So bottom line, can quinine help cure the coronavirus? And the short answer there is there's no scientific evidence support to either support or refute this claim. So I can neither confirm nor deny that statement, but I will say this. There are several medicines, if you will, or even treatments out in the world today that are being used with success in various medical, for various medical conditions that have not been scientifically tested, but there is a large field of anecdotal evidence that they can provide relief from certain conditions. So I will say, just because the scientific evidence is not there doesn't mean that solutions don't exist. It just means that the science has not caught up with that particular solution yet. So just something to keep in mind. So while the scientific community is working this out, as far as I'm concerned, your best course of action is to build up your immune system. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. Build up your immune system and your overall level of health in general. The healthier your body is, the better it will be able to naturally fend off viruses or diseases of many kinds. God created your body to be a miraculous tool, entity, person, whatever you want to call it. It's incredible, and it does a lot of wonderful things if we give it the tools that it needs to perform the way it was designed to perform. So just keep that in mind. Your first defense, your best line of defense is your body, its innate function, and what you do to keep it running as a fine-tuned machine. And that's what it is. And that's what it can be. And if it's not fine-tuned, then you need to work on fixing those problems so it can do the job it was created to do. It's just as simple as that. You take good care of your vehicle, you get your oil changed, all of those great things. Treat your body the same way. You want it to last. When it breaks down, it can be incredibly expensive. So keep it in good working order to begin with, and you won't have to worry about that. You won't have to worry about the cost. You're going to invest in your health in one way or another. So are you going to invest in its upkeep and maintenance, or are you just going to invest in its overhaul and complete rebuild? Which is going to be more expensive? Which is more valuable to you? That's a question only you can answer. So even though I wasn't able to provide you with any definite answers regarding quinine use and COVID-19, I absolutely love questions like these. So please keep them coming. I love them because of the other avenues they open up right now. I mean, my mind has been reeling with ideas for future shows, one of which being whether or not all waters are created equal. So we're talking about tonic water, but we haven't even really scratched the surface of that water. And there are lots of other waters out there, not just brand names like Dasani and Fiji and what have you, but actually different kinds of water. You might be surprised. I know my mind was actually like blown when I got into the whole scenario of water. So that's one that's going to be coming at you. And this whole virus debate, more specifically the germ theory versus the terrain theory. So we're going to be taking a look at the argument of where disease actually stems from, and then how it should be treated based on where you stand as far as where disease actually comes from. Not to mention the best way to prep those seasonal veggies for greatest nutrient density, which we alluded to on last week's show. So this is all good stuff and all coming up in the weeks to come. So in the meantime, just remember, your body is a temple, so let's build it.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Temple Building from the Inside Out, brought to you by the Hazel May Collaboration and Nutrition Coaching, helping you live your healthiest life yet.